Okay, we're live in Facebook. Here we go. We got people coming in, and I'm going to make you a co-host.
You're going to make me co-host?
Okay.
All right.
Me more. Make co-host.
I don't see it yet.
Well,
All right. You put me as host. Bob, you're not blonde. Cut it out.
what's that? Did I make you a host?
You made me host.
Okay, go ahead and make give it back to me, and then just and I'll make you co-host. Sorry.
Make host. There you go.
How did I do that?
Do I want to change? Yes. There you go. Now just make me co-host. All of a sudden I was famous and I didn't want to be. Hi, Lori.
I was just being too quick with everything. Good evening, everybody. Shredders Unite Biz. Thank you so much for joining me Thursday night. Super excited to have you all on this summer evening. And this is going to be a little bit different and unique from what I've done in the past before with anybody. Our poor fearless leader, Sean, is under the weather, fighting a cold, and also they had a tragedy in their family. They lost their oldest dog to a coyote either last night or this morning. But he's got a lot to deal with the kids and so on, and the lost dog and not feeling up to par. But that said, we've had several conversations today, came up with some really neat ideas. And the purpose of this call is we're in the midst of summer and we know it's going to be slow, and there will be people watching this potentially on the replay. But what I wanted to do is make this valuable to all of you from the standpoint of, I'm assuming because you're in this call, you're interested in getting your products paid for, or you're interested in creating a business, a side hustle, if you will. All of this is available to you and much more. I implore and ask all of you to go to Shredders, ershred.biz, ershred.biz, a wonderful site that's been put together by a great team. It literally gives you the tracks to run on, gives the outline in terms of what's required, how to share your story, and the concept of the simple business of basically paying it forward, sharing it with others, and teaching others to do the same thing and repeat. So I thought that over tonight and the next week, we have our celebration for Isagenix. For those that are unaware, Isagenix is our fulfillment company. And a week from this Friday, is going to be celebration, and it will be virtual, and you will be able to tap into it. It's a free event. There will be amazing speakers. There will be special announcements, usually new product announcements, etc., which are all wonderful. And I wanted to basically just kind of clear the air on a few things. Shred, we're an amazing community on a number of levels, but the number one is that we opened it up to the entire company. I mean, this is all of Isagenix that wants to participate in Shred. They are welcomed within our community, provided they play by the rules. And that is, we want everyone to be supportive. We want people to follow the protocol, and we want people obviously to give good feedback. And, we're not there to obviously sell other programs, other ideas, so forth. Shred in itself, we are unique unto ourselves, and for good reason. So what I thought I would start tonight with is I wanted to talk about our business plan, why we did it the way we did, and how does this align with our fulfillment company, Isagenix. And I'm putting up a thought in your head because we have many, many leaders on this. I have found celebration to be one of the funnest events of the year, along with New Year's kickoff. I mean, I like them all personally. But what I wanted to tell everybody on this call, in particular, our Shredders Unite Biz call, is that the things that Sean and I have shared, Jesse, or any of the other leaders as it relates to our program, this is basically just best practices that we have determined has worked the best for us. From Randy and Tony Escobar, to basically serving others, coming from a servant heart, to basically having a product experience and that relationship with the product first before we ever mention the business. We're unique in that manner. What I wanted to point out is that next week you're at Celebration, you're listening to other leaders. Understand that this is not the only way to build the business. There's a zillion ways to skin the cat. There's a lot of people, many of you already might be doing different things, and that is totally okay. Maybe the messaging that I give this evening, I'm all cold water, wet, whatever, you're going to say, no, thanks, that's not for me. And that's okay. And what this is about is, I said the other week when I said, you're my guest, I did that with intent because you are the most important person on this call. This is all about you. It's not about me. It's not about Sean, Jesse, or any of us. This is about what you want and what you desire. And we're going to hopefully give you the tools that will allow you to arrive at what your goals are. What is your purpose, your why, your motivation? What is your story? How can I best share that story? And of course, we're steeped in experience. In ER Shred, there's many, many millionaires, which means you've accumulated earnings of $1 million or more. Before I go any further, the disclaimers I've posted. There's no guarantee on income. There's no guarantee on results. Everyone's going to be individual in terms of their specific nature, what they come to this from a health standpoint, but also from the aspect of building the business. We all come from different areas of expertise. One thing that I find unique about our business model is this. I came from the business world. I know what typically they look for in a candidate and what are the skill sets and what you need to do to be successful. What I've learned about our opportunity is that there's only two that are critical. You've got to be passionate about your product experience, and you must care about others. And third, I guess, you can't be shy. You got to pay it forward. You got to share it with others. So if you come from a nurturing, supportive type personality, you would be my perfect candidate to join my team. And there's reason for that. And you think about, for those that are lucky enough to know Tony or Randy Escobar, think about Sean. Sean's obviously cut out of the same cloth. I mean, he should be. But one of the things that always impressed me about the Escobars is that they always elevate everyone around them. They make you feel good for being in their presence. They compliment you. They're happy to see you. They celebrate your successes. And when you really look at, what is this business about? Sure, Tony he's a formulator himself. He's got an amazing science mind. Randy went to school, valedictorian, has an amazing business mind. But really what it comes down to as far as their essence is that they care about others. And so that's kind of the culture of ER Shred. And when we came to this, is that we wanted to figure out a way to bring the John Anderson way, as we like to refer to it. John Anderson, our founding formulator, who said, I'm going to make a no compromise product, but his intent was to build a culture of people who cared about others. And in the process, we would grow this humongous company. And that's literally what happened. So with that in mind, ER Shred was born with the tenets of, we had our core program with some modifications. We learned about incubating the shakes, which was a huge positive. We learned about collagen bone broth, which for many of us has become a game changer. I know it's harder on some individuals more so than others, got my bone broth, but I was always able to muscle through a cleanse because I just put my mind to it. I'm going to do it, and it didn't matter, even if it was uncomfortable. That said, a lot of people would say, I can only do, a half a day. I only can get through a full day. I can't do a 2-day. Well, from Jesse, the main benefit occurs on day number 2. It's critical. You get to autophagy. If you haven't learned about that yet, you need to go to ER Shred, top of the video section, the guide section, listen to Jesse, learn about autophagy, download the Life app. But the whole process of our system is to get you the very best results. And I think we've accomplished that. I'm fascinated, blown away, and excited for all the testimonials that we get on Tuesday and Wednesdays. It's mind-boggling in that it doesn't matter if it's men or women. It doesn't matter if they're young or old, athletic or not. Everybody's having life-changing results, more so than we thought were even possible. So that's really what we deliver. What I wanted to share tonight is what are some specific things that you can do today and I'd ask all of you, if you're kind enough to get on this call tonight, my best recommendation is take some notes, write these things down, but these are things for you to either revisit, or maybe for the first time go, oh, I didn't even think about it that way. But these are keys that will allow you to be set up for success. One thing I don't want our Shredders Unite Biz call to turn into is just a big social club hour, which is okay. I've been on this company, our fulfillment company, for 17 years, and I can tell you a lot of the team calls, whatever they might be, they ultimately turn into like a big social hour. What are we here for? Well, we're here to help you get what you want, and that is what are your goals? So you come to the business side, maybe it's you just want to pay it forward because you're so excited that you were gifted ER Shred, and you know other people who might like to enjoy the same. That's wonderful. That's how it started for me. I thought, oh my God, I got to share this with my friends. I feel incredible, right? Maybe it's you've seen some other successes. Maybe it's within your organization. Maybe it's someone on this call. It could be Sean. Maybe it's Randy and Tony Escobar. And you went, wow, they actually created a real significant income out of this. How did they do it? Well, of course, we're going to provide you the tracks with that. But for what I want you to think about is, what are your goals? Look at the next 12 months. We're starting a new celebration. They always started as far as our fiscal year begins at the end of this celebration. And even from the standpoint of tracking your success, they judge you from basically August to the following year, not on the calendar year. So question is, what is it that you want to, what are your goals? And to spend some time with it. Maybe it's just getting your products paid for. Maybe it is a car payment. Maybe it's something more than that. Maybe you're like me, where all of a sudden we realize my stepdaughter is going to be a senior next year, and she wants to be in Broadway theater, and she's already started the application process, and she's got to apply to 25 schools. And Allison, my beautiful wife, is having sometimes goes into literal oh my God, you got to be kidding me, because we're getting sticker shock. We're seeing how expensive some of these schools are. So again, when I look at my why has changed in that I need to up my game because I have some additional income requirements. Many of you on this call tonight might be coming into it from a standpoint of network marketing and looking at it as it's one of those things, or it's good for a side gig, or good for a side hustle. Allison made a point to me today. I was talking to an individual who was asking me about, how did you fall into this nutraceutical company? And I told him the quick story, and he was calling it my side gig. And Allison laughed, and she said, little does he know that your side gig, you're a six-figure income earner with your side gig, and you're an Isagenix millionaire. And it's not a side gig. It could actually be a full-time job if that's what you aspire to. I thought what I would do first is, and I'm going to touch on this next week too, and please guys, if this is something that is of interest to you, I know probably Natasha's going to watch the replay on this. Talking numbers can get very, very boring, and it's almost like you're in accounting class, or if you're in finance class. And that's the last thing in the world I want to do. I want to inspire you. I want to get you excited and motivated. But that said, I have my world that would look at this as an investment. And I know that all of you have a 401k. You probably have maybe your investment portfolio. Maybe it's mutual funds. Maybe you have individual stocks. Maybe you're thinking about retirement. And what I wanted to basically at least set up for you right now is that if you thought that Isagenix was the single best investment opportunity that you've seen in your lifetime, and I'm talking about our fulfillment company because this is how we get paid, right? Would that be of interest to you? Would it be of interest to you if I gave you the next Apple before it became successful, or the next Google, or maybe it's Amazon, or people are buying Tesla, or the next Bitcoin? And what I was going to say is that when you invest, it comes with risk. I mean, there's always risk, right? What if I were able to tell you that you can do this investment and feed yourself for free, and there's no downside? In other words, you're not going to lose your investment. What is your investment? It's $29 to become an associate. That's it. there are four things that I look for in a company when I was an investment money manager. This is very 40,000 foot. It's very general, but it can be applied to anything that you guys do. And I would highly recommend that you use this if you're analyzing an investment. So if you want to know how someone like myself would analyze and figure out what the next Amazon, Google, Qualcomm, Intel, whatever the next great investment opportunity is, there was a professor at Northwestern, actually up here in Chicago, who actually became a Bear Stearns investment banker, who was one of the top portfolio managers in the healthcare industry. And he provided me a paper that he wrote when we were basically talking one day. And he said, I think what you're doing sounds very much like my paper. And I call it the uniqueness principle. Because I wrote this paper back when I was a professor at Northwestern. And basically what entails the uniqueness principle is, how do you evaluate a company to make sure that it meets the criteria that you would want to invest? In the four categories, it's real simple, but it starts with management, because you've got to have solid management in place, because you can have the best product in the world, but if you have poor management, the company's going to go under. That's a fact. Number two, you have to have a product, but your product has to be so unique and different, and it has to solve a problem. It has to basically make a solution for those that want it. Maybe it could be something tangible like an iPhone, and it could be something that would be more, which would be intangible, our health, right? The key is it has to be unique and different. Why is it not a commodity? It's just not one of those things. So you have to have a unique product. We have that with our fulfillment company. We have that with our individual products. We most certainly have that with ER Shred. Number three is you want to look at what your demographic is. How big is your audience? Well, in the case of what we talk about, we're talking about better sleep, better energy, losing weight, coming alive, right? Better skin, whatever. What we offer is for everybody, young and old. We even have like my buddy Colin, his Grayson, 1.5 years is drinking the Iceland Pro shakes. I mean, there's a lot of examples of the kids, Adam Sis kids having the shakes and so on, just for the quality of the nutrition. The key that I look at is that we have, I think, in our sector, a system, a group of products that are second to none. So that we obviously do that in flying colors. The Cougars, they created this company. They've been around. We're solid for 20 years. The company's in a very good financial footing. They're going to be around for the next 20 years. And it's going to be home. It's going to be literally, how should I say it? They're not going public. It's going to be a family business. We're a legacy company. They're going to maintain the legacy. They'll pass it on to Eric and so on. But it's going to be basically, it's going to be a private company, which is wonderful. I think that's an important aspect. Finally, you want to look at if your demographic, which in our case, it's everybody that walks this world, is what is your timing? And I think timing could not be better for a number of reasons. One, it is critical that people are, obviously in this day and age, hopefully, are concerned with their health and wellness. Obviously, the numbers statistically, more Americans are overweight today than ever before. I was watching a YouTube just the other day, and this goes back to last summer, Dr. Mark Hyman, who many of you have heard of. Dr. Mark Hyman made the comment that 75% of Americans are overweight, but in his view, the more alarming figure was that 85% are metabolically challenged. In other words, their metabolisms have shut down. So it doesn't matter if they go on a diet or not, they can't lose weight. I believe, and I've talked to Jesse about this, and I don't think it's a big claim, but I can guarantee that in my previous experience, I could never break 205 pounds. And I would yo-yo back up to 210. If I was having a couple off nights, it'd be back up to 215, do a cleanse back to 205. That was me for a good 16, 17 years. Whatever's in ER Shred with this elimination protocol, I went from starting at, what did I start at? 208. So that was a normal weight. Went to 198 in the first 5 days and ended up at 195. Today I'm at like 188, 189. I don't even get on the scale that much anymore. I look based upon how I feel and how I look. And coming alive, the mentality aspect, I have never felt this good in my life. I might have to credit the Kerrygold butter in my soup here, but something's going on, but I feel better. I'm more creative, more excited, and so forth. So when I look at the 4 characteristics of management, product, demographics, timing, the other aspect of timing that I really wanted to point out, and this is what Sean asked me to talk about, and that is this industry. This industry goes through its own peaks and valleys, just like real estate or any other industry is going to have its cycles, its up and down periods. One thing is an absolute, that in the industry of network marketing, it is challenged when we have a good economy. It's counterintuitive, right? You think a good economy, people have more money to spend, they're going to be more aggressive in terms of network marketing. Well, it's the opposite is true. And it's really opportunity. Network marketing thrives when the economy suffers, oddly enough to say. It also, you will find, and I have had many, many conversations with you guys about, and I've said the same thing myself, but this time around, I'm looking for business builders. I want business builders on my team. Well, you know what? Everybody wants to be a business builder. However, one of the strengths of our business model is that 85% never share it at all. They're just customers. So if you're going to have a successful business, you can't ignore 85% of your business. That's just customers. Here's the other crazy thing. From 95% down to 85%, that extra 10% right there, they're just making a little bit of money. Maybe it's enough to pay for your products or less than. The top 5% have made money, but it's really the top couple of percent that have actually been very, very active to the point where they hustle to make it into something. So getting back to your goal setting, what is your goal with this? This is like any other business in that it doesn't come free and it doesn't come without hard work. It's easy to see the people next week that'll be on stage and you're going to have a story like I did. Well, of course, Jimmy Smith's successful. He came from another network marketing company. Well, of course, Peter's successful. The guy just talks Isagenix 24/7 all day long. In fact, if he could work 9 days a week, he would. I would make excuses for people who were on stage why I wasn't on stage. The reality is we never get to know the hardships. We don't know the things that they had to overcome, the trainings that they may have done, the personal development that they did. Bottom line is that the people who get to be on stage, they put a lot of hard work and effort into this. It didn't come easy. But here's the good news. Sky's the limit. You're not capped on your income. I wanted to talk what Sean had mentioned, and Allison said, well, that's not too exciting. You're not going to motivate people that way, but hopefully it will be. I'm not throwing you under the bus, but it's true. So why is Sean so excited? Why am I so excited about ER Shred? Well, one, we looked at the first 9 months, which we've been doing this. It's kind of the proving ground. Sean came on and said, hey guys, I didn't tell you, but I signed up for a year and it's my year anniversary. And you know what? I'm so excited. I'm going to do it for another 5 years. I'm all in. I'm thinking, wow, you actually were thinking of quitting? You know, I was like, wait a minute, you're going to leave me hanging with this thing? No, but that was the agreement. We said, hey, let's give it a year and see what happens, because we weren't sure. Maybe I'm an anomaly. Maybe Sean's an anomaly. Jesse is an anomaly. I mean, when you look at the guy, I mean, he obviously has been following nutrition for 20 years, but he found out what worked for him before our program took him to a whole nother level. That said, because of your testimonials, because of your heartfelt shares, which move us every single week, Sean's like, I'm in for the next 5 years. This is the single best opportunity I've ever seen. Today's conversation with Sean was simply, Sean, given what we have today, if we give people the right direction and we have the community, there's no reason why anybody who raises their hand that says, I want this, cannot be incredibly successful. And when I look at it, what Tony did, you've heard his story with Randy. They had lost their business. They decided this is it. We're going to go to work, but they worked their tail off. Sean has said, I worked incredibly hard for 5 years. And basically, he worked up till about the age of 30, but at that point in time, you know, he did retire for 10 years until he's 40. Welcome back. My point is that it's going to come down to your desire and how bad do you want it. That's going to be all things in life. I wish if I had Aaron Harrison on here, who's played football. I love the football analogies. I played football. yeah, you got to get down and dirty, but how bad do you want it? I mean, are you willing to do the do in order to get what you want? That said, we're in a situation in the economy that, as a forecaster would say, we're long in the tooth. And what I mean by that is that we had a horrendous recession coming out of the 07-08 period as related to initially the mortgage banking industry, but it spread into the entire banking industry, and it was quite scary. It's probably the most precarious time financially we've had as a country at any time, almost going back to 1929. It was very scary. We got through it. We went through a long period of slow growth. We went through the last 4 years of tremendous growth, and then we get hit sideways with a pandemic. What I'm trying to say is the only reason why this economy is even has a heartbeat right now is because of tremendous government spending. I mean, they're spending like there's no tomorrow. And our national debt is 27.5 trillion. Scary, right? It's like there's no end in sight. Eventually, we have to pay the piper. And it's going to be some hard medicine. How is that done? They're going to do it by raising taxes. They're going to do it by raising interest rates. There's a lot of economics in this, so it's not going to get too crazy. So I don't want you to worry about that. We're not going to be heading back to 1984 or 1982 when they raised rates to 17%. I mean, they had to get inflation under control. But what I wanted to point out is inflation, for the first time since the 70s, is out of the bag. You can't take inflation and stick it back into where it was. The only way inflation goes back down again is if the economy goes into the dirt where there's no demand. That could happen. And that means we have no inflation, but that means the economy is in the dirt. It means the economy is going to be sucking wind. If we have a good economy, we're going to have inflation. The only way you can get inflation tamped down is to take money out of the system by raising interest rates. That's ultimately going to slow the economy. Finally, I had made mention on a previous call that if you go back to the 1920s, and you can go, and the only way to do it is you just go backwards, but you can go 2008, 2001, 1994, 1987, 1979, 1980, the oil embargo, the crisis in 1972, 73, the recession that occurred in the 60s. Bottom line, about every 7-8 years, we're going to have a cycle. It's like clockwork going back to the 20s. When I mentioned long into the tooth, it's been since 2008-9 since we've had that recession, right? Say it lasted to 2010, we're still 11 years. That said, we're probably headed more likely than not for a down cycle. Sounds pretty horrifying, right? Yes, it is. But for you that are on this call, here's your opportunity. This is huge, because when there's less opportunity, people are looking for other alternative ways to make money. They're going to be hungry. This is where you're going to find your business builders. Business builders aren't born because people sign up and say, hey, I'm looking for a good business. I think I like yours. Sign me up when things are good. But when they're struggling and they learn they can make some extra money, they're all ears, right? So that's your opportunity. That's from a timing standpoint why I think today is better than we've had at any time since the 2008, 2009 period to build a business, if this is what you want. Now, finally, not finally, we're only halfway through the call. I wanted to make mention because I want to ask all of you to get on the celebration call if you can. We have some amazing talent, amazing leaders in our company. What I don't want you to do, though, is I don't want you to get distracted of, oh my God, I really liked Lisa. Oh, I really, really, really liked Lynn. I really, really liked Susan, whoever it might be that's talking on stage. I don't want you to like switch. You don't want to jump off tracks and go from A to B, or I'm going to build my business and totally retool overnight. When Sean talks about going to these events, sometimes he would make the comment of, oh my God, I go to the events and then I have to basically deprogram my team because that's not our messaging. Now, our messaging may not be for you, and that is 100% okay. Just like we tell ER shredders, come in, give us 11 days, cut it, get the baseline. From then on out, you get to do what you want, but you can stay or go, and it's totally cool with us. It's empowering to tell people that. Our way is not the highway. What you need to do is when you're writing down your goals, what I also want you to take a look at are other things in terms of what's important to you. What is your why? What motivates you? Okay. And why, in terms of your why and what motivates you, what is in alignment with your core beliefs? Maybe it is ER shred, maybe coming from a servant heart and all the things that we preach and caring for others. Maybe that sings. Maybe that sings to your heart. And you're going, that's me, that's my tribe. Maybe not. Maybe you look for convenience. Maybe you're looking for, I like the simplicity of doing the collagen shots or the elixir. All good ways to build a business. In fact, it might even be easier to build a business. I'm not sure. That said, you have to figure out what's important to you, and you want to find something that you're in 100% alignment with. So if I'm going to steal something for Allison coaches women. I mean, she's amazing when I hear her do this in terms of these women entrepreneurs. But her whole focus is on finding what you're in alignment with. Because if it doesn't line up with what your core beliefs are, you're incongruent. And with that incongruency, you're going to have obstacles to overcome, or it's not going to be authentic. It's going to look forced. It's not going to be easy. It's hard to stay passionate if it's not in alignment with your core values. So she helps women decide, what is it that you want in your program? And does it meet your core values, your core beliefs? Is it in alignment? Are you passionate about it? It isn't, I'm going to sell a weight loss program because weight loss is a big industry. No, you have to have some emotional attachment to it. Getting back to our system, you're going to hear some talk next week about it's not a system. You don't have to do that anymore, or there's no instructions. There's a counter argument to that. And that is when we first started our fulfillment company, when we talked about it, what set us apart is that we weren't a magic potion. We weren't a magic product. We weren't a one quick, oh, just do this and you're good. We had a system of products that work synergistically together to give you an outcome. Now, maybe you could take a product and it gives you more energy. Yes, we know about those products. Maybe it's giving you, calm, less stress. We know about those products. We know about our wonderful collagen elixir. Will improve your skin. I think I did it 10 days in a row, and I've saved, because it was so out of stock, I saved it for my wonderful wife, as I think any good guy should. I'm looking at myself over here. My skin, if you look at my videos back in October, my skin today without doing the collagen elixir is night and day better. Again, maybe it's the Kerrygold butter, could be the bone broth, maybe it's the incubated shakes. I don't think so. I was doing incubated shakes. I was doing bone broth prior to ER Shred. It has something to do with the change in my diet, focusing more on red meats and salmon, cutting out the carbs. But my skin has improved without the collagen. But what I wanted to share, though, is think about all your testimonials. We come out of this, as Lenny Evans likes to say, we've come alive. Maybe that's day 5, maybe that's day 7, maybe it's day 20. But if you stay with it, and I've seen all of your encouragement of others, just stay with it, trust the process, that day is coming. When it arrives, we're super, super excited for them, and they're glowing and they can't believe how good they feel. That's an emotional attachment to a product experience that there's no marketing in the world that can buy that. And that is what makes us unique. That's what makes us different. And that's what's going to keep people coming back to do the ER Shred. Maybe they come and go, but they're always going to go, man, when I did the ER Shred, that really worked for me, or I felt really, really good. Or how about, we don't tell people this is the way you have to do it, because if we did that, we might be right, and you've got to be compliant. And this is the soup Nazi. It's only going to be this way, and we're rigid. Well, we were rebellious teenagers, all of us once, right? We didn't like mom and dad tell us what to do. We're designed to basically rebel against authority in a way. It's more or less like, no, I'm not going to follow the rules. I'm a rule breaker. Bottom line, I like what we have created because we give you permission to fail, and we learn our biggest lessons through our failures. That's the truth. You never grow out of success. You don't. But when we get knocked out of our comfort zone, when we're going through a struggle, or any time in your life when you go, wow, that was really, really hard, get prepared. That's when you're going to have some amazing growth. And that's the same thing I said to Allison. I mean, it's tough. It's summertime. Business is slow. We're worried about where's Isagenix going? Okay, I don't understand the messaging. How about Shred? It seems to be going, but it's slowed down. We got kids going to college next year. We got to come up with some money. How are we going to pay for this? Shred's no guarantee, right? We got to have, all these things go in your head. And I told my wife this. I said, I know times are tough. I know there's a lot of things that we're struggling with. We're coming out of a pandemic. Everybody's trying to figure out how to recover and to survive. The one thing I know for sure, based upon my 59 years on this earth, is that the growth opportunities for all of us, the lessons learned that we will have coming out of this in the next 12 months will be mind-boggling. But you only can evaluate and see it during hindsight. I went through a divorce. It was not fun. It was living hell when I was in it. When I went through it, I go, wow, what did that do for me? It led me to Isagenix. It led me to basically looking to live healthier. It led me to yoga. It led me to re-examining myself from personal development. By the way, before I forget that thought, don't do what I did. Peter Greenlaw came to me and said, hey, I want you to do Brian Clemmer Associates, amazing program. I said, there's no way. I've been there, did there, done that. So I was in my mind kind of like listing the different personal development programs that I personally have been involved in. In the 80s, it was Zig Ziglar. 1989, just to help a friend out, I went and attended Tony Robbins for a weekend. And I think at the time it was only like $200, but it was a 3-day weekend in Dallas. And I thought, man, if you got to get excited about the business, pay me the $200. I'll get you excited about being a broker. I don't know why you're paying him. I learned a lot from Tony Robbins, and I love him. I've loved all his programs. But I did Tony Robbins. I did Bob Proctor. I've done John Maxwell, Jack Canfield, Success Principles. I mean, it goes on and on and on. I'm thinking, man, I have done a lot of personal development work. But what's interesting is that I'm a different person every 3, 4, 5 years. I know Jesse was commenting about how our cells are replaced. I know that I've heard the old story that every 7 years, all your cells are brand new. Jesse was breaking it down to like different types of cells replace themselves every 3 months, skin, so on, right? Bottom line is we're different. We're a changed person. So it's important that we go back to the same old personal development lessons to re-examine where's the 59-year-old Bob versus maybe I'm a lot different than I was at 50, guaranteed. A lot different than I was at 42. So personal development as a business practice is going to be important for you because you've got to keep the right mindset, positive mental attitude. Those are the tracks to run on. Learn from others, learn best practices. There's a wealth of information. Dr. Dyer, you got to find you. Maybe I was talking to Bonnie Perkins and I said, Bonnie, I thought of you. I was listening to, I'm halfway through the book right now with John Maxwell on living intentionally. Great book for our industry. Talks about your story. What is your story? Talks about your why. Talks about what motivates you. Talks about basically how you serve others. It's everything about our industry, living intentionally. John Maxwell has a lot of books. I think this is the 4th book that I've decided that I would pick up and read. I'm listening to the audio book and it's John Maxwell reading it, but he has such a nice grandfatherly tone. It's almost like, man, you just want to kind of cuddle up next to the fire and just listen to this guy tell you. It's like, he's giving you all this wisdom. You got to find what resonates with you. Maybe it's Bob Proctor. Maybe it's somebody like a Tony Robbins that's going to be a little bit more aggressive and in your face. They're all good. But again, what do you relate to? What is your personality like? Who do you like the best? There's no right or wrong. So, I mean, we'll give you suggestions, but do yourself a service. Find what other personal development system. Maybe it's Jack Canfield. Maybe it's Success Principles. Great program. But find something that's going to work for you. I strongly believe that when I look at our company, because we're going through Isagenix 2.0, and everyone's going to say, well, what is 2.0? Personally, I'll be honest, I think I'm still trying to figure that out. I mean, we've got a new logo, we've got some new colors. We've changed our vision statement, our mission statement, the art of well-being. That seems a little bit more vague to me. My wife would tell me, and I have to agree with her because I live with her, but she's absolutely correct. And she said, Bob, you got to be relatable to your audience and you have to niche down. what is your niche? In other words, who are you really speaking to? Am I motivating housewives to do this program? Probably not. Are they going to call me up and say, Bob, I thought of you and I'd like to learn about the ER shred? I mean, maybe, but most likely not. They're looking at other mothers, people like them that have had an experience that they go, oh my God, if it worked for Michelle, maybe it'll work for me. My audience are guys that are aging. They're in their 40s, 50s, approaching 60 like me, but probably wish like hell that they look like me, right? So, not to be egotistical about it, I looked at Sean. No, but I looked at Sean. This is what got me into ER shred. After Sean did this, and he said, and I begged him to do incubated shakes and try the bone broth. Let me know what you think. I didn't know what he was doing. He had his own recipe. He came up with the ER shred, but I did see his before and after pictures. Now, for a guy, that moved me. I was like, holy cow, what did you just do? He goes, oh my God, it was just 11 days. It's unbelievable. You're not going to believe this. And then he told me it was red meat and it was like throwing cold water on me, for me. I was like, oh, wait, time out. My doctor said I can't eat red meat. You guys know that story. So what my wife pointed out to me is be a product of the product. I used to preach that. I used to think being a product of the product, the old me, that I would never get to where I'm at today. Now I'm thinking, I'm going to be a 60-year-old Jesse. I'm going to be a 60-year-old Sean. And I'm just going to be the best me that I can be, because we love Sean for his energy. We love Jesse for his knowledge and his energy. But really, we want his body. I mean, be honest, most guys, they're like, damn, I want to look like you. Maybe with women, it's getting in that dress that you wore, your favorite dress. Or maybe it's, for many of us, we're getting back in our clothes that we wore in high school and college, which is really kind of insane. I know there's Bob laughing there, but yeah, I know his story. I mean, he's gone down to like a 30-inch waist. I mean, it is crazy. I'm at a 32-inch waist. I haven't been this since high school. I mean, honestly, I still don't get it. Again, be a product of the product, but be the best you. So for me, that is my avatar, my niche market. It's going to be guys in their 50s approaching 60 that want to have energy, want to look better, look good, and live an optimal life. I mean, great, aging gracefully, as we say. I mean, you want to play with the grandkids, you want to be able to play golf, you want to be able to have fun. I mean, who wants to basically say, I can't get out of bed because of aches and pains and whatever? I mean, to me, that doesn't sound good. I also wanted to talk about the concept of ER shred, of why we're branding ER shred. And this is going to be unique, and you may hear different arguments to the contrary, but from my perspective, this is something that I think makes a tremendous amount of sense. Rather than branding our fulfillment company, which again, nothing wrong with it. A lot of people have done it and they've been very, very successful with it. There's two things that happen. One is you separate yourself from the rest. You're not just another Isagenix representative. You're not just another network marketer. How many times have I used to run up to people and say, oh, it's Isagenix? They go, oh, yeah, that's okay. It's one of those things. And they walk away from you. They make a decision before they even know what we have. We've branded ER Shred intentionally because it's the community and it's a system. That's the beauty of it. They can't point to me and say, oh, that's network marketing. They don't know what it is. They want to learn more. How do I get people interested in what we have? Being a product of the product, being the best me. But better than that is our community. And this is what you all should be leveraging. If they're not ready to say yes, the easiest thing in the world is to say, are you on Facebook? I am. Would it be okay if I invited you to our private community? You can kick around and see what it's all about. And then if it interests you, just let me know. Guaranteed the amount of FOMO, the poor people that have yet to do the ER Shred, but they're watching every single day, every single month, people reporting good news, it's killing them. So it doesn't matter if it's going to be 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, they're eventually going to probably say yes and give this a shot. Jesse's correct in saying the community is our greatest asset. I've been with this company, as I said, 17 years. I've never seen a community as tight-knit and as strong as we are with ER Shred. Part of that is because we're consistent with our messaging. Part of it is because We have an 11-day system that we do not allow any people to vary it whatsoever. Will it work doing other things? Maybe. Might even work better. We're not even going to allow it because we want to get you to baseline. We know what works, but the only thing that we require you to do is to follow it strictly. The neat thing, most people say, can I do it again? In 17 years, I've never heard anybody say that to me. Well, how long do I have to wait? When can I do another ER shred? Just keep doing it. Just stay with it, right? That's what I did. Think of ways that you can promote our community. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is that Collagen Elixir. That's a great product. My wife loves it. Everybody I know that has taken it, even the Facebook pictures, people who I know and have known for years, amazing transformations. The only thing that I'm going to ask you to do is to don't be everything to everyone. Don't be promoting ER shred and collagen at the same time, but listen to what their needs are. And maybe you're going to relate and say, you know what, they're probably not ready for ER shred, but they may have an interest in the collagen. Give them the opportunity to say no. But I'm looking at it as a separate division of my company. I've got my Collagen Elixir people, and I've got the ER shred people. And then from that, I also have the people who are maybe vegan or vegetarian. They're doing it the traditional way. That's okay too. We're going to support them, right? But I don't mix my messaging, and I'm consistent when I'm talking to people. You know, I don't want to be the Walmart to everyone, if that makes sense. I wanted to talk about something that hit me the other day that are just good practices that, you know, remind me that, hey, this is something that I should do. And it was fun to hear this, but I was talking to Aaron Hairston, Mr. Motivation, and he's an ER shredder now, super, super fired up. I'm thrilled with his videos that he puts inspiring videos, short videos in our group every day. He talked about getting the right avatar. I had mentioned the trick that I had learned from Kirk Metz years ago, and that is profiling for you who is the best candidate. Who do you want on your team? Now, this is the cool thing. This is your business. For your personally enrolled, you get to choose who you want to work with. Who do you want to go on vacation with? Who do you like to hang around with? Who would you like to build a business with? Who would complement your skill set? But write down the characteristics in the individual that you're looking for. Like I had said earlier, as Allison pointed out to me, my avatar isn't going to be young mothers that are looking to lose baby weight. I mean, that's probably not going to be my avatar. Kind of already shared what my avatar is. But I need to write down those characteristics, just in the same manner of how our subconscious works with our conscious mind. It's crazy when you think about your subconscious mind. Let's say it's a dress that you like, and you say, oh my God, I really like that dress, or I really like that pair of shoes. Or maybe it's a guy saying, oh man, I really like that car. That's a cool looking car, right? You start thinking about it, and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, the next day, you see 10 of the same cars on the road. You're like, where did this all happen? How did it show up? It's because you put the intention out there, and your mind was focused on that, and that's who showed up. If you put your intention on the people who you're looking to attract in terms of the characteristics and the qualities, they will begin to show up in your life. It'll just make your job a lot easier rather than saying, who am I looking for? Put the intention. You can do this through meditation. You can do it through prayer. You can do it through journaling. Journaling is a huge positive, something that I want to pick back up again for one main reason. Some of my best ideas occur when I'm in the shower, right? But I don't have a pen and paper, and I don't have my cell phone to do a cell phone memo right away, or I forget to. We have these things. Now you can do a voice memo to yourself. Bottom line is that they tell you also from a journaling, keep a notebook by your bed, because sometimes in your dream state, you're going to come up with some amazing ideas. Write your dreams down. Write down your good ideas. Some of your best thoughts about the business and how to share or who to share it with are going to happen during those mundane times when your mind is quiet. That could be doing the dishes. It could be folding clothes. It could be exercising. It could be while you're out running. It could be, you know, I know with me, I mean, lifting weights. You're out lifting weights, and right in the middle of lifting, all of a sudden I'm thinking about, oh my God, that's a great idea. Well, I got to stop and I'm writing something down or I'm putting it in my phone. But it's a good practice to do. So the things that I would recommend would be profiling. Who is your proper avatar? Make a list of the people that meet that criteria so that you can check them off. You're going to have your chicken list too. What I'm going to tell you to do is rip the Band-Aid off fast. Take the most hairy, scary person you're terrified of and give them a call. Because if you call them first and they say, interesting, I'll take a look, or no, thank you, but you still called them, you're going to feel so good about yourself. Everything's downhill after that. Say, wow, I just called so-and-so, and he took my call, or she did. And that was amazing. Well, then it gets easy after that because you took on the biggest person that you were terrified to share your opportunity with. And this is the beauty. It doesn't matter if someone, doesn't matter what social status they have or what career or what job, whatever. Everybody needs what we have. They just don't know we have it. I mean, that's the reality. This is as good as it gets, in my opinion. So make that list that meet your profile or your avatar, as Aaron would say. Think about, how are you going to communicate? Am I going to use social media? What platform? Am I going to do TikTok? Am I going to do Facebook? Am I going to do LinkedIn? My suggestion is start with one and just get really good at it. Do what you're comfortable with, but then throw yourself out there a little bit. Like with me, I was talking to a friend of mine who was telling me how good TikTok is. He goes, oh yeah, it's a lot more than just teenagers dancing videos. I'm like, he goes, there's everything in there from personal development to, you name it. He thought it was a great platform that people are jumping on. I've never been on TikTok. I have no idea, but it's on my list to learn because I thought, okay, maybe that's the direction we're going in. Instagram, I'm still learning how to do Instagram. I mean, that's how ancient I am. I'm good at Facebook. I understand LinkedIn from a business standpoint. I don't know how LinkedIn really works, maybe for our industry, but there are people who have done that and have been successful at it, but it's another good one. Text messaging and also email. My suggestion is email, don't rely on it the way we used to because no one looks at emails anymore, even me. I mean, I will have to, how many people hate scrolling through hundreds of emails to find the one or two that are important that you had to watch? Everybody that's important to me is on my VIP list anymore because I got to have it starred or lit. It has to be lit up so that it catches my eye when I scroll through because of all the junk mail. But utilize text messaging. Absolutely 100% take advantage of our Penny app. That artificial intelligence that automatically combs your organization. The more you use it, the smarter it becomes, the better it will be for you. It's an undeniable, it's an absolute must. Even more so than NowSite, and you heard that, Olivier, because without that foundation, you don't have anybody to send NowSite to, in my opinion, but they work best together. Adam Sisk, busy with his twins. I know he's been working and, he's got twins and he's got 2 young daughters, crazy busy, but he has really exploded his business in utilizing NowSite in conjunction with the Penny app. He's doing target marketing with the Penny app and using that NowSite as the vehicle to communicate, which I think is perfect. And I think that's a great way to think about it. But think about what works for you. I'm a little old school. So after this pandemic's over and we're opening up, I'm much, much better person to person. I want to get out and meet people, belly to belly. So what can I do to get in situations where I'm going to meet people? One of them is looking at a health club, maybe going to a gym or trying different gyms. Michelle Kriegel, who's on my team, I mean, it cracks me up, but she's notorious for trying out a new gym like every week. I mean, she's all over the map. Well, and then she works at one now, but she's also, she's in this city over here, 30 minutes over here, and I'm downtown over here. And I'm just trying their new gym. I'm like, what are you doing? And then finally it hit me. She's like, wow, she's just meeting new people at every single place she goes, and she's building her network. She's building her contact list. So, I mean, think out of the box, but think about if you want to do belly to belly, put yourself in a position where you can meet people who are like-minded. You're probably going to find people who are interested in health if they're in a gym or in a health, if they're in a fitness center working out. I wanted to mention at the end here again that there's no substitute for positive thought. And it's really, really hard to do in the world we're in with the amount of negative news and you can fall into that. I know Sean put a challenge out to many of us the first week of it was middle of November, I think, or it was December. Mimi would probably remember. And he said, look, do me a favor, but for the next week, no news, turn it off entirely and just turn it off and see how you feel at the end of that week. And he said, I promise you're going to have better sleep, probably less worry, less stress, and you're not going to be so quick to anger, whatever might get you worked up. One of the benefits of ER Shred for me is that I started October 23rd, and by the time the elections rolled around, I wasn't even watching TV. And I was a guy my wife would attest, I watched the news 24/7, and I had to be attached to CNBC, the world markets. I had to know what was going on. I'm not managing anyone else's money right now. Why I felt for the last 17 years that I had to be watching news 24/7 because it was a habit. I mean, it's who I thought who I thought myself, who my identity, my DNA is, but it wasn't serving me, and it was meaningless. It was just wasted space, wasted knowledge. Since ER Shred, and when my mind woke up and I started getting creative and excited and happy again, all of a sudden I become very sensitive to anything that seems toxic to me, from toxic people to toxic news or toxic foods, even good foods that, right, Mimi, good foods that don't agree with us. Our systems are uber sensitive. We know right away. For me, Brussels sprouts are a no-go. No matter how much I liked them in the past, I don't want to go revisit that again, not so much. Same thing it is for basically keeping a positive mindset. Read books, do audio books, podcasts, fill your mind with positive information. Because of the internet age we live in, there's just a wealth of good, solid information that will allow you to grow as a person, as well as improve your skill set of whatever you're looking to do. And we are at the top of the hour. Next week, I wanted to talk a little bit more about the numbers because Sean asked me to. I didn't want to bore you tonight, but these are things. Make your profile list. Who's your avatar? Who's your board of directors that you want to build a company with? Make your list. Get ready to call the people who are your chicken list first, because that'll just make life easy. I always did that in the financial world. I called the wealthiest guy I knew first, because I knew if I got that one out of the way, I wouldn't be so scared about the next guy that I called, or woman. Get really clean on your story. And that is, what is your ER Shred story? What is your traditional story? Or maybe it's your collagen elixir story. But get really good, not only with just your story, but maybe learn, if you're a guy like me, it's probably a good idea for me to learn other people's stories, like Tracy or Mimi or Sarah or Bonnie. What is it in their story that might appeal to someone who I'm talking to, so that I can be relatable? I know somebody just like you. So it doesn't always have to be the 60-year-old guy who's looking to get in shape. Maybe I'm running across a person, a woman, or whoever it might be that's not in my avatar, but I know Bonnie Perkins, that, oh, you're just like Bonnie. This is what happened with her. I'm relatable again. So get comfortable with your story and with some other people's stories. Get active, as Jesse would say. Get moving. And it doesn't matter if it's working out, if it's cycling, if it's running, if it's walking. Get moving. That is critical for your health, but it's critical for your mindset. Once you get that runner's high, you want to go back for the next one. Same thing with cycling, same thing with working out. Once you get into the routine, you get that good sweat on, you feel good afterwards. It just goes hand in hand with you being a product of the product. Journaling, don't forget about that. If you haven't journaled, start slow. It doesn't matter what you write down, just write stuff down. But ideas will generate. Meditate, prayer, whatever you choose, but do that on at least a nightly basis or a daily basis. Find a quiet time where you can get still with your thoughts and focus on maybe an intention, maybe what you're looking for. The answers 99.9% of the time aren't going to come from the outside. They're always from within. They're in your heart. You already know the right answer. You just have to quiet the monkey mind, the chatter, so that you can listen to yourself, so that you can listen to the answers. meditation, all the great gurus, everybody will tell you that is a key to health, but it's also key to having a good mind. And finally, just feed yourself with good books and audiobooks. And if you have a good recommendation, please don't be shy. I'm going to start putting up recommendations. We already did in the guides, but I'm like, man, I'm having a good book like every other week. Like I'm calling up Jesse and like, oh man, I read a book called Stealing the Fire, which is amazing if you're into peak performance. Phenomenal book. I think I heard about it because another quality author mentioned it, that this was one of the best books he's ever read. I'm like, well, okay, I know I'm reading your book right now, but I'm going to jot this down because that's the next book that I'm going to read. That's typically how I find the books that I want to find. But be it John Maxwell, anything that you might find that you think would be valuable, please share it to the group. Put it out in the air. And Shredders Unite. Found a good book, thought you guys might enjoy this. For me, John Maxwell, Intentional Living, there's not a bad one that he's written so far. Intentional living is a good one for our industry. I mean, it just is parallel to what you need to have success in our industry. Think about what your next year is going to look like. What are your goals? This is the hardest part. It's easy to make a big goal, but what you want to do is you want to have a goal that not only is relatable, a SMART goal, specific, measurable, it's obtainable, and it's realistic, but there you put a set time to it in the next 6 months, in the next 3 months, in the next month, in the next year. If you start with a big goal, what I want you to do is to break it down to a month, what I need to do on a monthly basis, what do I need to do on a weekly basis, what activities do I need to do on a daily basis. And if you just want to go all in, hardcore Tony Escobar, talk to 20 people a day. That's it. You make sure you share your story to 20 people a day, some way, somehow. But if you do that consistently for 30 days, that's 600 people, you will have success beyond your expectations. And he's told me that 1,000 times. Bob, I know you're not talking to your 20 people a day. How so? I see your cycles. You don't belong here. You're better than that. Right? I've heard his story so many times. One of these days, I'm going to wake up and say, damn, he was right. I think I should go to work. So that's my goal for you guys. Have a great week. Think about what you want. We will talk next Thursday, and I'll share with you my goals. I mean, but we all have to have them, and we will go forward in terms of how we best can support each other, being accountable in Shredders Unite, our Biz Night, how we can be accountable to each other. And that's another thing I want to talk about next week. Accountability groups. Some people are calling them masterminds. Single best thing you could do. And it's actually really good. Sean mentioned this. It's interesting how good ideas tend to come from multiple people in the same time period. So not only have I talked about this, but I've had 3 people tell me about their masterminds that I wasn't aware of that they were doing. And then I had Sean call me up and say, it's really good. Promote accountability teams. And he goes, these teams should not be financially related either. He goes, make sure that they're from different parts of the team so that you can keep each other, because it's easy to basically pay lip service to a teammate or a good friend and say, oh yeah, I'm going to do this. I did that, right? But it's a lot harder when you're telling it to another leader on a different team. But that's Sean's thought. But think about, maybe doing accountability teams, and we'll talk about that next week. How can we keep ourselves accountable and on track? Anyway, guys, I have gone over by 2 minutes. Have a great night. And I hope I didn't bore you to tears. I mean, this was kind of hard.
Thanks, Bob.
Appreciate
Have a
you,
good night.
Bob. Thank you so much.
Good job.
Good night, y'all.
Thanks, Bob.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks. Excellent call. Thank you.
It was
Thanks,
great.
Bob. Thanks, Bob.
Great nuggets.
Yes.